Okay guys, so far with the Eldar releases, we have given you a Lycus video, a Warp Spider video, and a Fugan video. In today's video, we are of course going to be diving into Fugan's boys, the Fire Dragons themselves. One of, if not my personal favorite aspect warrior, purely for the color choice. Orange is my favorite color, so these are always going to be a delight to build and paint for me. And hopefully I'm going to transfer that over to you in today's video. So hopefully you're excited to see that. Before I get into those, just a huge thank you to everyone that's watched the Eldar series so far and have been enjoying the videos and commenting and liking and all those things. That really does make a huge difference for making you want to push on and make the rest of this series. If you want to support even further, there is things like Patreon linked down below. You get access to a private Discord server where you can talk to me on a daily basis and participate in all our other events that we host over there. And you also get an extra video every single week. This week's exclusive video will be Azraman. So Azraman from the new Eldar range will be purely for patrons. So if you want that video, check it out below. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in and get this Fire Dragon painted up. Okay, and here is the Authog of the Fire Dragon squad, all built, all sprayed, and ready to begin painting. Now, unlike Fugan, which I used like 2 thin coats range, and I went a little bit above and beyond, I'm going to show you a very quick, very easy scheme to get the squad done. So you can think about one as like tabletop and one as like tabletop plus, although I don't really feel comfortable calling my stuff tabletop plus, but you know what I mean. So with the black and grey undercoats in place, if you want to see how I spray models, you can check out this spray video I did a couple of weeks ago, which shows how I spray my miniatures. And after that, we grab some orange contrast paint and I apply that all over the armor that needs to be orange. Remember, these guys have the nickname Banana Head, so don't forget not to cover the helmet in orange. Don't paint the helmet orange. It's meant to be yellow. Now, obviously both sides of the banner need to be done as well, and there's basically a nice design orange on either side, and then the center strip is yellow, like the helmet's going to be. So just take your time, get all that in place until we have a model that looks something like this. I've also done the little base bit as well because, well, you know, I base models. Imperial Fist contrast, which is unbelievable yellow contrast paint. It is a game changer of a yellow paint. If you do not have it, you haven't played around with it yet, get yourself a pot of Imperial Fist yellow contrast, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And obviously I'm going to apply this as a center bit of the banner, not hitting that ring in the middle, that disc, that's a whole different design. And then of course applying it all over the helmet to block in those colors. Now some of it's going to go black later on, but it doesn't matter if we hit it with yellow now. The black will cover over that really nicely. The faceplate is black, some of the pipework on the side is black and stuff like that. So don't worry too much. Okay, with these two colors in place, we are now going to move over to Fleshed Hair's Red. And this is just for like the strips of cloth. So it's like loin cloth. He's got some strips running around his arm and stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but it'll help time into Fugan and the other Fire Dragons who have any detail like this as well. So far he is orange, yellow, and red. So he is very much fire, which I think suits him down to the ground being a Fire Dragon. Like I said in the intro, these are by far one of my favorite aspect warriors. My favorite aspect warriors are Banshees, Scorpions, and Fire Dragons. I'm not particularly sure what order that is. My guess would be Fire Dragons, then Banshees, then Striking Scorpions. I love those 3 aspects. There's no way I would ever take an army without them. So it is nice to have access to full plastic versions of all of them and their Phoenix Lord, except for Karandras. Hopefully he reappears in the story sometime soon so that we can get our hands back on him. Black Templar contrast was then used for some of the other details, like obviously his big fire pike, the banner pole, the dragon motif that's on the flag. Obviously that's a different color on the box, but I decided to do that dragon motif in black. Same way that I did for Fugan and his back banner. It turned out really nice there, so I wanted to follow through with it. And then there's also like buckles and straps and stuff around the model. Make sure you get that done in black as well. Retributor armor gold for all of the nice golden details. So all of the gemstones and stuff around the body, make sure you paint them all in gold, including like make sure you get the outside of them as well. Obviously we'll do some gemstone colors on the inside of those later on, but we'll get to that when we get to that. There's quite a lot of gold detail on Eldar models buried around, so make sure you do find it all. Get a nice base coat in. Okay, with those applied, we have got all the base coats applied, so now it's time to shade them all down. Now I am going to go full Nuln Oil and shade the entire model head to toe in Nuln Oil. I know it's quite dark, and I know this is quite a bright model, and you may seem that's a kind of a crazy choice. But I do want to add some nice kind of shadows in there. I'm not sure what will be a better choice, perhaps a sepia. But I've always used sepia to pull colors into like the more natural tone side of the color wheel, you know, it would like where it would occur in nature. Whereas I don't think that these models would have that kind of color. They would be almost fluorescent. Therefore, I think their shadows would be more blacks than browns. So that's just my crazy way of thinking about it. Does it work? I don't know. You tell me. With that base, with the null oil all dried and the basing done, it's time to start layering them all. So I grab some Troll Slayer Orange, and I very carefully go in with one highlight on all the orange parts of this model. And obviously all of the armor is like segmented and separate. So just go in and highlight each and every one of those panels. Take your time. Remember, with Aspect Warriors, you can take your time because they're not big projects. It's not like Fire Dragons make up 40 models out of your army and you're going to be sat there for weeks painting them. It's a 5-man squad and a Phoenix Lord if you choose to go Phoenix Lord route. So you can spend a little bit more time making each squad look kind of special and really nice. Sometimes in some areas you may need to go in with a second coat to strengthen up the orange. That's more of a judgment call. If you want to brighten it up even further, you go for it. If not, you can leave it nice and dark, which is how I like it. But obviously trying to leave as many kind of that null shadow and shade around all the crevices, around all the like bumps on the armor, in all the corners and stuff like that. And then obviously with the banner as well, you can see I'm going down the banner pole, following along the creases, and then a little bit on the flat areas, but wanting to leave some shadow and shade behind when I apply it. I love these back banners. They're so like Japanese styled. It's so cool. I love them. I honestly would have them on every single model if I could, not even just the X-Art. Flash Kits yellow is then introduced. Now, Games Workshop yellows are awful. I just struggle painting with them so bad. So when I'm doing this, I can do it on small areas and do a fairly nice job. And as you can see, I'm not going for brush strokes. I'm going for like almost like stabby stippling motion. It will give me a slightly rougher texture on the armor, which, like I said with my previous Eldar videos, does make a lot of sense. These are sung into existence. They're like bone-esque. So they are allowed not to look as smooth as you think they might need to look. This will take a little bit of time. And when I do the other 4 members of this squad as just a batch, I'll do all 4 together. Doing this step will take a little bit of time, but it's okay. But if you do it, like I said, little stipples, little scratches down, you will get a nice yellow result across the entire helmet when you're done, and it will look fairly nice. I like the result of it. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. Are you going to try and paint them with nice smooth coats, or does the little stabby motions that I'm doing here, going back and forth over areas, do the job for you? Okay, so we've got Corvus Black now. We are going to layer up all those black areas you did previously. So the fire pike, all the belt buckles, obviously the dragon as well, taking your time not to hit any of that white, orange, yellow, or red that surround this black dragon, which means you have to be extra careful. Obviously, the big Eldar rune in the center of his helmet needs to get done in black as well. Now, the symbols on the banner underneath the, like halfway down in the yellow, are supposed to be done in black as well. I was too nervous to go in with black. I thought I would just smudge, or I wouldn't make it look as neat and tidy as possible. So I just left them yellow. Call me a coward if you want, but I was just really nervous. So, and I don't think it's necessarily needed, but if you so wish to, like I did with the symbol on the helmet, if you want to follow that through on the banner, of course, go for it. A bit of Evil Sun's Scarlet for highlighting up the red on the tabard. Obviously wrapped around his arm as well. Very quick, very easy technique to do. The model is really starting to look like a fire dragon now. We only have a couple of steps left. So we're going to be careful not to hit anything that we're not supposed to hit now. Otherwise we'll have to go back in and try and do a tidy up job. Like I said, we are 4 videos into the 7 videos required for the Eldar video week now, so I'm loving it so far. Hopefully you guys are enjoying following along. I do a second highlight with Wild Rider Red on that red fabric. I don't do a third highlight on anything else except this. I don't know why I felt I needed to it, but I just wanted the cloth to pop just a little bit more and have it blend a little bit better with the tones of the armor on the helmet. And I think by adding in that Wild Rider Red, I think that's what it did. It brought it right up to that tone. And I thought it sat with the model a little bit better than it did previously. We obviously have a few more bits and pieces on this model to tidy up and get done. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some Iron Breaker and we're going to highlight up all the gold on this model. Like I've said in previous videos, we're going for the edges of all the gold, all the points, all the sharp bits with just a touch of silver. Will make it look like it's catching the light. Sparkling, looks really good. It's very simple to do. And then all the gemstones, the center bit of the gemstones is all going to get a solid coat of silver, so that we go in with a contrast color of our choice later on to make it look like gemstones. I myself, I'm going to go for blue gemstones because that's what I've done for the rest of my Eldar army, and I want them all to match and all blend in with each other. So a little bit of Talazar blue was then introduced for all of the gemstones across the model. And they can be quite well hidden, so do make sure you find them all. There's 2 on his gun, his chest, there's 2 on his hips, there's 1 on his, like, where his tailbone would be. There's none on his helmet, funnily enough. Oh, there is 1 on his helmet, yeah, but none on the sides, which kind of look like there should be. But it's a real nice, like, poppy color when it comes to fire dragons. There is no, like, blues or greens or anything like that, so it does stand out really well, and it looks awesome. And with that done, I would say that this basic paint job for a fire dragon is now complete. He is ready to serve the Aeldari to the best of his abilities as soon as he gets the rest of his squad. And then I need to find a safe way of getting him across the battlefield so he can melt tanks. Really love fire dragons, really love how this guy turned out. Hopefully you did as well. I've obviously got some still images to show you what this guy might actually look like on a tabletop. And I've even taken a snap picture of what he looks like next to his Phoenix Lord, so you can get a bit of a compare and contrast. It is kind of crazy how different he does look to his Phoenix Lord, especially in size. Like, there's no mistaking which one is the boss in these pictures anymore. Like, previous editions of Phoenix Lords weren't too much bigger than a random guy, but when you see this, it kind of changes it. So, absolutely love it. Can't wait to get the rest done, and I can't wait to finish off Eldar Week in the next couple of days. Okay, and here we have it, the finished fire dragon. That brings 4 of the 7 videos required for all the new Eldar releases finished. So we are really breaking the back of this project now. Hopefully you're excited to see the rest of the videos. After the Swooping Hawks, Baharoth and Azraman, those are the remaining 3 bits and pieces. So I'll get to those as I can throughout this week. Hopefully you enjoyed them. If you did enjoy it, make sure you give the video a like, ask me a question you want in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe. Those 3 things cost you nothing, but they really do make a huge difference on how many people get to see our videos. And yeah, it helps the channel grow. So please do that. All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one.